Thanks for being here. Today, Chris and I are going to talk to you about two Twilio platform capabilities that make it possible for you to add new capabilities to your product and reach new users with very little code. Let's go ahead. But before we sort of go there, I think I wanted to provide some context and background around sort of how we think about these two products on Twilio today. Fundamentally, what we see is over the long period of time, developers build with Twilio building blocks, but they also end up building with partner products, right? Building with capabilities like transcription from a partner or sort of number spam detection capabilities from another partner allows you to extend your application and add new capabilities. But when you look at sort of the entire process that you go through in order to do that, it's still somewhat painful, right? You first discover sort of the right partner that meets the needs that you need, right? You then go ahead and spend time trying to understand their API, their failure modes, their sort of authentication models. And then once you found one, you sort of need to get approvals to go ahead and sort of start using those APIs. Maybe you get the API keys from that particular company. And then finally, sort of you build this integration logic, and then you maintain it as the APIs evolve, right? It's still somewhat of an involved process. Let's face it, right? We've all been here at some point or the other. We've all have had either inherited code that was sort of not really needed, or it was a lot of integration code that is really needed, but not a lot of fun things to write, right? And that's where we sort of thought that there was a better way to do it. The end result of sort of this integration code and integration sort of capabilities that we write is that it delays the amount of time that we get code out to production, right? It's sort of like writing stuff that you need to test and then maintain. And there's a better way to do it. So last year at Signal, if you were present, we announced integration with Facebook Messenger, right? Facebook Messenger brought you the ability to use a new channel to reach new users through Twilio APIs. We also announced Add-ons, which was adding partner capabilities into Twilio APIs to help you add new stuff without having to write a lot of code. And this year, we sort of upgraded Facebook Messenger from that one integration into a whole new product called Channels. And to talk about Channels, please invite up or welcome Chris, who's the product manager and leads the channel effort.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me all right? Cool. All right, so today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about channels and how that fits into the Twilio ecosystem. But before we do that, we kind of just want to talk a little bit about some trends we're seeing and kind of explain the problem we're trying to solve with channels. So in large part, consumers are moving to OTTs, and these over-the-top messaging services, the way we define them are pretty broad. They're push notification services like Alexa, their chat services like WeChat and Facebook Messenger, and their workplace chat like Slack and HipChat, right? And as customers move to them, we're seeing that a lot of our customers are coming to us being like, I've already built something on Twilio. Can you help me connect to these customers wherever they are? And these OTTs offer a lot of different advantages, right? They're free to use over SMS, which can be expensive for customers. They offer a lot of more functionality over SMS and MMS, where with Slack reactions or iMessage reactions. And then finally, there's just a network effect that's pushing customers to these OTTs. So if you want to communicate with your customer, you kind of have to follow them, right? And that's why we have started integrating these channels into different Twilio products. So this is the big kind of stumbling block for a lot of people as they start to look at OTTs and how they will integrate with them, which is like, where are they? And this is a cartoon from XKCD, which shows kind of the intersection of trying to find where your customers are, right? So given a couple different things, it's hard to figure out where your customers are on their OTTs. There's demographics at play, there's geography at play, and then there's social norms and network effects and demographics that all play into where your customers live and how you have to reach them. So let's dig into that like pretty quickly, and then we'll go into a little bit more about how you actually use channels. So first thing you have to consider when you're looking at OTTs is like, what are you doing, right? Given the social norms of the network, is it professional? Is it personal? Are you sending a notification? Are you doing customer support? Because consumers have different expectations on different networks of where they want to reach out for support. Are you doing a bot that's going to push content? Like, these all come into play because consumers have different expectations based on the social norms of the network. Demographics. Demographics is very important. I'm of the age group where it was weird when my mom joined Facebook. Now my younger cousins and siblings are like, what the hell is Facebook? So depending on the network effect will be largely demographic, where kids do what kids do, which is apparently Snapchat now. So this will play into your selection, right? And it changes very quickly, right? With each new network and the very low switching costs between them, they can change very quickly. And your customers, at the end of the sprint, when they were on Facebook, now they're all on WeChat. Finally, the last selection is, the last part of the fragmentation is geography. So again, network effects are largely bounded by geography. So you've built a Facebook integration for your customers in the US, but you expand to Japan. And all of a sudden you find out that Line is the most popular OTT there. So now you kind of have to go back to square one and like rebuild an integration for your new customer. And the truth is, if you operate on the internet, you operate globally kind of by default. So you have to support wherever your customers are coming from. So you go through and you build all of these OTT integrations, and your application eventually ends up looking like this, with a bunch of bespoke, brittle, kind of least common denominator integrations across like a whole bunch of these networks, right? That is why we introduced Twilio Channels, which allows you to send and receive over multiple channels using the APIs that you've already built on top of. So what we've done is we've taken this kind of very weird looking brittle implementation and turned it into this. Magic move for the win. So now you can use your existing integration with Twilio to start messaging customers on the networks that they actually exist on. So this is supported by a wide range of Twilio products. Notify, TaskRouter, Proxy, and programmable SMS and MMS. All of the messages that are sent through these channels are free. You just pay for the usage of Notify or TaskRouter or Proxy. And if you actually use it through programmable SMS, you don't pay anything for these messages. And really the support in the existing products is so that you can take the communications workloads that you've already built and just extend them to these new networks without really changing any code. These are a selection of the available channels we have. It's a fairly diverse mix in terms of use case, geography, and just general type. So Slack and HipChat for professional networks. Facebook, Viber, Twitter, WeChat, Line are sort of your personal ones, and then Alexa push notifications for the push notification use case. And they cover, like I said, a wide variety of demographics, geographies, and use cases. So now let's actually just demo it. So let's see here. Oh, no. We're good. OK. So this is the channels catalog that is live in the console right now. You can log in and browse all the channels. We'll take a quick look at SendGrid as a good example. In here, you can see all of the documentation. And all the documentation tabs walk you through exactly what you need to do to connect Twilio to this network with handy-dandy pictures and code examples. But but let's take a look at one that we already have installed. So yesterday, Pat announced support for Twitter direct messages. As you can see here, this has already been installed, and we have a standard callback URL, fallback URL, status callback. These are all kind of the messaging URL primitives that you would get from programmable SMS. So these are the exact same things you'd set on a phone number. And in addition, we have this remote entity ID, which is the Twitter username that we're actually going to be sending or receiving to. What I've done here is I have a little runtime function that was announced this morning. And what this does is it takes an incoming message, treats all incoming messages exactly the same, and sends it to a sync document that we have set up here. So we'll refresh this. We'll see that there's one message in the queue. And now we're going to pretend that we are a company called Rocket Tech. We're going to send me a direct message. We say, hi, do you like rockets? Oh, hi, Billy. There we go. So what just happened was I sent a direct message to my Twitter account. That Twitter account invoked a webhook that hit Twilio, and that went through our function, got synced to a document, and showed up on this page. So, hi, Devarshi. So that's pretty simple. Like, it's not that complex to build that. Let's do something like a bit more interesting. Let's say we want to add a new channel, right? And for this one, we will add Facebook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure Facebook here. I've already logged into Facebook, so the page knows. I'm going to say that I want to use it in programmable SMS. I want to grab the URL of my runtime function. I'm going to select the Rocket Tech Facebook page, paste it in, save it. Cool. And now what I've done is I've basically subscribed the Rocket Tech Facebook page to the Twilio app. So whenever somebody messages that, another webhook will be invoked, and that message will be sent to Twilio. So we can actually try this. So here we have the Rocket Tech page, and this is my Facebook. I'm just going to say, hi, I really like rockets. And there it goes. It showed up in the queue. It went through the exact same URL and endpoint that we use for Twitter, and it appears exactly the same. And we can go now. Let's go grab this thing. So now, like, we have inbound working, and that's fine, but it sucks if you can't reply to your customer. So this is a quick curl example that I have here that shows all we had to do to use programmable SMS to send a Facebook message is change our to and from. And can I make it bigger? There you go. So all I've done is I've changed the to be prefixed with Messenger and the Facebook ID of the user I want to talk to. And the from is the Facebook page that I've connected to Twilio. So now we can grab this, throw it in the terminal. This is the exact same response you get from messaging when you send an SMS or MMS. And if we go back to the Messenger page, you'll see that we responded. And finally, we could take one last look at the programmable SMS log, and you'll see that all the messages I sent during the demo appear in your messaging log, just like they would for, an MMS or MMS. And we can drill in, and we could see, oh, that's not the one I want. This one, the incoming one. See, we have the same errors and warnings, the same request logging. Everything that we'd get that Twilio is built to help you send MMS and MMS globally works exactly the same way for channels. So there's really no big difference between them. And I think that's it. Yeah. I'm going to turn it over to Devarshi now. If you have any questions, requests for different channel support, access to channels, I'll be out in the hallway after this. Just come and find me. Thank you.
Was that the coolest demo or what? I think it was cool, like really cool. Great. So, can you guys hear me okay? Did you do the mic switch? Awesome. So that was Channels, like something that we're super excited by, and we would love for you all to try it out, and sort of see where we go with this. The next thing that we wanted to talk about, I wanted to give you guys an update on add-ons, what has happened since launch. But before that, let me do a quick recap. So Channels is a great way for you to extend the reach of your application to more users, right, in more ways. We built add-ons with a different goal in mind, right? Add-ons were designed to help you add new capabilities to your products, again, with the same approach of pre-integrated products. So what are add-ons? Fundamentally, add-ons are partner products that are pre-integrated into the Twilio API. They work in a similar fashion as Channels, right, in the sense that you can use existing Twilio products and APIs, but now you've got additional functionality in it. And we'll talk about what that is. With add-ons, what we've tried to do is when you sort of remember that sort of set of Legos, right, that we saw previously, and that entire process in between, from discovery to integration to sort of ongoing maintenance, we've tried to simplify that process. So Twilio works with a set of partners, pre-integrates them, makes sure that that functionality is available to you in a catalog that you can go browse for and sort of figure out what product can solve your problem. You can install these add-ons with a click, and then you pay for them with the same pay-as-you-go model that you do with Twilio APIs. In every way possible, we're trying to make it possible for you to add new capabilities with little code. Right, so since the launch, right, we've been around for about a year. We've sort of added new partners. We've started to see very, very healthy growth and adoption. But here's a broad category of use cases where we see add-ons being adopted by customers. The first one, and one of the most and the fastest growing category, is marketing intelligence. These are add-ons that will give you more information about a specific phone number. You can use this information, like, say, for example, caller ID information. Where do you live? Where does this person live? Things like demographic information. You can use this information in a variety of Twilio products to route calls or messages to the right people, right? Next up is, if you've ever built an application with Twilio phone numbers, you realize that you do end up receiving a bunch of robocalls or spam, right? And it's super annoying. We've got a handful of partners that will help you get more information about whether an incoming call was likely to be spam or not. And you can use this to route calls maybe to a voicemail if you detect that this is a spam caller or a robocaller. Or you can actually make them do more work and sort of do some more verification before you pass it on to a live agent so that you don't waste people's time. Incredibly useful. The next category of add-ons, this is interesting. They're related to compliance. These are add-ons that can, for example, given a text message, tell you whether this was designed to be an opt-out the way humans say, I don't want to receive messages anymore, which is they say, please don't text me anymore, other than those 5 keywords that you need to use in order to stop receiving text messages commercially. There are other add-ons, like some of the new ones, like DeepGram, that will help you spot specific keywords in a recording that you can use to understand and figure out whether your agents are saying the right things or saying things that they're not supposed to say. Pretty useful for compliance reasons. The fourth category that we see, and this is one of the other top growing and sort of top adopted categories, is content intelligence. This is about saying, hey, I did a recording on Twilio. Can I get more insights about what was said in that recording? Can I get a better understanding of the sentiment or the tone of messages that were sent over Twilio? And these add-ons help you augment that and sort of get that kind of information without having to do custom integrations. Finally, well, actually not finally, we've got one more category to go. We've got some new add-ons that are coming up. Facebook, call tracking capabilities to do offline conversions, right? When you run an ad on Facebook, what happens often is you receive a call through that ad, right? This add-on helps you feed that data back into Facebook so that you can optimize ad tracking and sort of ad conversions. Incredibly useful. And then finally, this is the latest category of add-ons that we announced today, analytics and workforce management add-ons, which are a little bit different from the other ones that we had before, right? These are add-ons that are out-of-the-box solutions that you can use for reporting or workforce management with our Task Router product. It's a little bit of a departure from everybody else, which is mostly an API-driven product. This one is more of a pre-integrated, out-of-the-box actual solution. Let's talk about how Code for America used these add-ons. So it turns out Code for America has an interesting application. They've got an application that allows their case managers to communicate with clients. And these clients are people like parolees that are trying to sort of settle back into the society. It turns out that when these case managers talked one-on-one with their clients, right, they would talk to them maybe once a month or maybe twice a month, infrequent interactions. But what they realized is the more frequent and the higher quality interactions these case managers had with their clients, the better the chances of success for that rehabilitation to happen. So they built an SMS app, right, on Twilio. The SMS app allows their case managers to text their clients, and now they went from talking to them once a month or once every 2 months to talking to them once every 2 to 3 weeks, right? But now if you imagine what that means for a case manager that is handling 200 to 500 text messages every week, is that they lose that personal touch with their client, right? When imagine sort of you had to keep track of these 100 clients, right? You would sort of scroll back into their message history and try and figure out what was said there. It was a little bit challenging. So they ended up using the IBM Watson add-on that allows them to analyze incoming text messages for tonality, for sentiment, and sort of try to build up a somewhat more quantitative profile of what that communication or what that relationship was like, and use that to give case managers tools that they could use to improve how they communicate with these customers. And they were able to do that all by going into the console, enabling an add-on, and starting to use that data. Pretty powerful application for what we think is something that is very simple. All right, so let's switch gears and let's talk about what it is like to build with add-ons. It's actually quite simple. All you do is start by figuring out the add-on that you need by going into the Twilio console. And I'll switch over and we'll sort of do the walkthrough of the console in just a little bit. Once you install and configure the add-on through the console, all you need to do is identify and sort of parse the data that you get back in Twilio APIs. So this is an example of what happens when you invoke or install an SMS add-on, right? You remember we talked about, well, not quite, we'll get there. But this is where you look at, right? You look at the add-ons parameter. It's a new parameter that Twilio returns to you in the webhooks. It's prefixed with add-on unique names that you can find in the console. And below that is the data that the add-on returns. All you need to do is parse it and start using it. So let's switch over to the console, and I can show you what that looks like. All right, seems I need to mirror. For whatever reason, it is not mirrored. OK, this one is off. OK, I'm going to try and do this. And I'm going to look at it weirdly and hope that, oh, OK, I can see it there. Great. So when you look at the add-on catalog, just as you can see the channels catalog, in similar fashion under Marketplace, you can find add-ons. You can go and sort of browse for add-ons either by the product that you're using. Add-ons are currently supported for 4 different products: the Twilio Lookup API, Programmable Voice, SMS, and Task Router, or by specific categories or use cases that you're trying to solve for, right? So let's pick the first one that we see here. This is the IBM Watson Message Insights add-on. And this one actually gives you data about the tonality and the keywords in a message. You can go through this. It'll tell you what it does. It also tells you sort of, if you zoom in a little, what kind of data it returns back to you when it gets invoked for an incoming text message. And to enable this, all you need to do is check a box that says use for every incoming message, and you're ready to go, right? That's all you need to do. So let's save that. We'll go and enable a few other add-ons, and then we can come back and see how you can use the data. The other one we're going to install is this Mobile Commons opt-out add-on. And this one allows you to recognize when humans say, I don't want to receive text messages anymore, right? No more keywords. We're going to go ahead. We're going to agree to the terms. We're going to install this add-on. Great. And we're going to enable it for incoming text messages. So we're good there, right? And finally, we're going to install, let's say, the White Pages add-on. Where is that one? They have a caller ID add-on right here. Great. So let's install this one. Well, it turns out this is already installed, and it's sort of enabled for our lookup API. So remember this sort of unique name. This is the unique name that Twilio uses in our API callbacks to reference results from this particular add-on. So we're going to remember this. Let me copy that. I'm going to show you how what it looks like to use it in our lookup API. So this here is the API Explorer, right? It's something that you can go in and you can play with Twilio APIs without having to open up a console. It's a great way for us to sort of test something. And we're going to look at my number, and we're going to see what it returns, right? So if you look at the lookup API gives you more information about a phone number. If you were to expand this, there you go. I'm going to zoom into it a little so you can see what it looks like. Right now, it gives you a properly formatted phone number for what I put in. We're going to ask it to give us results for the White Pages Pro add-on. And we copy and paste that unique name here. What it does is it sort of tells us what that lookups API call looks like. All we're doing is passing in the phone number and asking it to use the White Pages add-on to get us more information. And let's do that. The instant you do that, now you see that you get a result back with the add-ons data prefixed with White Pages Pro that contains all the details about this individual, that is me. And if you scroll down, you'll see stuff like where I live. Thankfully, not much more else. And we're going to go back up. I'm pretty sure there's no stalkers out here, so I'm fine. That was great. So that was how easy it is to use add-ons with the lookup API. Let's do another quick sort of test, and we'll see how easy it is to use with messaging add-ons. So we enabled, remember if you go back, right, we enabled a couple of add-ons for incoming text messages. We enabled the Mobile Commons add-on, and we enabled the IBM Watson Message Insights add-on. And now we're going to see how we use it. So I've got this phone number here in the Twilio console. I've set it up with a function, right, when it receives a text message that says, process an incoming message. And if you look at this, I've got that function over here. Oops, wrong one. I've got a function over here that processes an incoming message. And it's actually quite straightforward. Right now, if it gets a message, all it does is it logs everything it receives. And I'm going to text something in, and sort of, you'll see what appears out there. Great. All right. OK. There you go. Great. So what you see here is that you received the incoming SMS webhook. And the incoming SMS webhook contains a bunch of information, including this awesome add-ons parameter, right? The add-ons parameter now contains information for all the add-ons that we enabled on this particular account, including sort of the IBM Watson add-on and the Mobile Commons add-on that will give you information about whether this is an opt-out message or not, right? And here, when you look at sort of the details, you see that the probability of this being an opt-out is 0, right? So not an opt-out. Great. We're going to go ahead and now text in something that is likely to be an opt-out and say, hey, don't send me an SMS anymore. Great. And what you see here, if we go down here, let me zoom in a little. Right. You can see that this now classifies this with a, wait, where did that go? Yeah, with a 0.9 probability, right? It sort of gives you that additional information that you need. And you can use this information and route on it, right? So here's some sample code that allows you to do that. You can go ahead, you can pretty quickly sort of parse these results and switch based on that. And using add-ons with programmable voice with recordings, with TaskRouter is just as easy. Check out the docs, and you'll get a better sense of what that looks like. It's actually quite straightforward. And finally, to sum it up, what you realize is when you start building capabilities with these add-ons, if you build a feature that you're selling to your customers, it's actually quite painful to go and do it through the console, right? You don't want to go and enable these add-ons for individual numbers or accounts. So we've got an API for that. It's in preview right now. If you want to build with this, please check it out. It's actually quite simple and fun to build with. You can install add-ons, enable and configure them, and sort of assign them to specific numbers so you can control when they get invoked. And I wouldn't be sort of doing my job as the product manager on the marketplace team if I wasn't asking you to come publish your add-ons on the marketplace. It's one integration that allows you to reach over 1 million developers with the integration into the Twilio marketplace and integrates you into multiple Twilio products. And that's about it. Thank you all. Enjoy Bash, and thanks for attending.